How about that? That's the pump. Wow, this is cool. Alpine. Interesting. Finally, a cool elevator. Nice building, too. Look at that. I like these Echo flashlight buttons. Indicator's burned out. Wonder what that buzz is about. It's got the old bumper. Fast door. That's interesting.
Thank you.
This is a really cool elevator. We got sent upstairs since the machine room's open. We can take a look at it from the outside. The cab is really nice too. It's interesting. There's only lights on the backside. Oh, this is because that one corner is not has no lights. Obviously, those were replaced at one point. No fan in this elevator, so it's a little warm, but that's okay. Let's see if we can set it up. All right, let's send it up so we can hear that machine. Because the machine room was right there. We're not going to go inside, but you can at least see it in action from here. Good, how about you, man?
So at this point, the maintenance guy comes into this building and stops me. He asks what I was doing. I gave him my honest response, which was, I am doing a blog on elevators since I've been interested in elevators and I do a blog as a hobby. The first thing he tries to do is yell at me for going into the machine room. As you guys saw, I never set foot into the machine room. I viewed it from the hallway, which there is nothing wrong with doing. I told him, no, I did not go into the machine room since I know that's a place I don't belong in. He then says, you think you can just trespass in this building? At this point, I calmly say, do you not want me in here? If not, I can leave and you will never see me again. He then says, you're trespassing again. This guy was likely reacting in fear because people in fear sometimes avoid being professional since your emotions are taking over your thought process. I then say, sir, I am sorry if I caused a problem. I then ask again, do you need me to leave? He then says, get outside. I then ask him, are you a property manager? Which is a question I have every right to ask. He then says he is a maintenance guy for the building, and then of course he dwells on me about trespassing. Since this guy is the maintenance guy, the fact that the machine room door was left wide open falls on him. Why was that door open in the first place? Machine rooms are very dangerous and anyone could have gone into the machine room whether they have business in the building or not. This part of the situation falls on him since he failed to secure the machine room. If anything, he was responsible for the security risk of that area of the building. I obviously did not accuse him of this to avoid the situation from escalating, which is something we need to avoid when possible during confrontations. He then goes on his personal cell phone device. I then asked him, who are you calling? He then says he's calling his manager who is off-site. He wanted me to talk to the manager and I said, sure, that's no problem. This is the first red flag I should have picked up since he failed to answer my question about leaving the property. I eventually caught on, as you'll hear in a little bit. Keep in mind, this building did not have a no trespassing sign. When I look for elevators, I always avoid buildings that have no trespassing signs to respect the building owners. Afterwards, he asked about the blog I do, and I told him a little bit about the channel. Again, I try to engage in small talk whenever possible so he can understand me better and I can understand him better. Unfortunately, this did not work for this unprofessional maintenance guy. Once again, fear probably controlled him, so he was filtering out everything I was telling him. He then says, "So you just trespass in buildings to ride elevators? I don't understand why you would come here. You have no reason to be in this town. Trying to figure out what you're doing and why you would be here in the first place." First of all, I have every right to be in this town where this was filmed. While I will not disclose the location of this building is located in a very affluent town, so the stereotypes of the types of people who live in this town unfortunately were shown through the interactions of this guy. These communities often contain snobby rich people who do not like outsiders, and this guy clearly demonstrates that he could be one of them. After finishing explaining about what I do and how the blog works on my channel, he gets back on his phone and I picked up a big red flag from him. He then tells the manager he isn't showing me ID. That's when I realized he was attempting to illegally detain me at the property. You are not required to give these people your ID. In fact, this is a right he did not have. Once I caught on to what he was trying to do, I began to leave the property and authoritatively said, "Sir, I am sorry for any trouble. I am now leaving and you will never see me again." He then yells, "You better not come back to my buildings here or across the street ever again." I then firmly say, "Understood, you have a nice day." I walked to my car and then tried to drive off as fast as I safely could. Of course, he tried to follow me on the sidewalk until I got to the main road and he gave me a very nasty look. He did this by foot, not by car, but he still gave me a very nasty look. This is another sign of unprofessional behavior from this maintenance guy. While he probably responded in fear, he is a busybody trying to be dominant in his authority and is doing all the wrong things to maintain such control. I understand what we do is unusual, and I also understand why you might get nervous when you see one of us doing what we do. However, he did not handle the situation professionally and attempted to illegally detain me on the property, which is a right property owners and employees do not have. He even failed to maintain his building by leaving the elevator machine room door wide open, which anyone could have gone in. If he wanted to say I was trespassing, that's one thing. I encountered a property manager in Hartsdale one time, and he told me the same thing. However, he was far more professional about it. When I apologized to this manager, he told me, "It's okay, only come to this building if you have business to do." And after that, I wished him a nice day, and he politely responded, "You as well, take care," and then he actually allowed me to return to the lobby of the building on my own and leave on my own. This manager did everything correctly. Unlike this maintenance guy where I tried to give him a lot of respect, even though he wouldn't stop saying I was trespassing, which I said multiple times that I would stop and leave. Thankfully, at this point, I knew I had to get myself out of the property once I heard the word ID from him. At this point, only trouble was starting to brew. Whether it was intentional or not, this maintenance guy attempted to exceed his authority and violate my rights. Once I caught on to what he was trying to do, I lost all respect for him and needed to get myself out of this situation. The one thing I could have done differently was leave sooner, but needless to say, I got off the property safe and sound. No matter how much you try to correct these things, sometimes people in authority will filter you out no matter what. Remember, private property owners, managers, and other related building employees do have a right to tell you to stop taking pictures and videos and leave the property. They do not have a right to detain you, make you show your ID to them, and delete the footage you acquired on your personal device. As you can see, this maintenance guy attempted to illegally detain me. At this point, I couldn't have trusted the property manager or owner to do the right thing after seeing how unprofessional and incompetent this maintenance guy was. Unfortunately, everyone encounters a guy like this in the elevator community, or with any hobby in general. This video shows you how to respond to this unprofessional situation with unprofessional building staff, and how to protect yourself and your rights from these people who try to violate them and attempt to exceed their authority, whether it's intentional or not. If you happen to know where this elevator is, please avoid this building and the neighboring buildings at all costs, since they are run by very unprofessional people. Remember, everybody, when you are stopped, be respectful, be honest, and know your rights of the location you are at. While most people are generally good, from time to time someone will try to get you. However, you can protect yourself from harm by knowing how to respond to the situation correctly. Know your rights, and remember, everybody, photography is not a crime. Fantech signing off.